I just realized that I never put a spoiler warning in my script, so if you couldn't get an idea from the title and thumbnail, there's gonna be spoilers in the video for the entire game. Yeah. Hi again, fellas. Did you miss me? Now, I don't know if any of y'all know this by now, but I'm a huge Xenoblade Chronicles fan. Like, I really like it. Could you tell with this image? The characters, the writing, the story, the gameplay and combat, and the music, it's all so good! Now, I've only played 1 and 2, I never owned a Wii U, so Xenoblade X is just sort of there. One day, my child. But of what I've played, they're both great games. I will say, though, I didn't master or even fully learn Xenoblade 2's combat until the final boss of New Game Plus! 100 hours in is whenever I actually learned the combo we needed to take down the big man himself. That's the main point I'll ever deduct from 2. The combat is just everywhere. But this isn't a video talking about Xenoblade 2, it's all about Xenoblade 1, baby! Xenoblade Chronicles is easily one of my favorite games of all time. It's very close to my #1 spot, but that goes to a different game release on the Wii. Like I said before, the story and cast and music and gameplay, really anything this game has to offer is amazing and I love it all. Which prompted me to play the thing 6 times. My first playthrough on the Wii but never finished it until way later in New Game Plus. The first time I beat the game in Definitive Edition and New Game Plus. And my last runs with the story and New Game Plus on the 3DS. That's well over 215 hours I could have spent doing other things, but here we are. The main reasons I replayed the game so many times was because of the story and gameplay. The gameplay is fun and simple, but once I got a hang of it, I just wanted to play more and more. And while I'd watched the same set of 10-hour cutscenes 6 different times, I just loved seeing the characters in the story. It may not be my favorite game of all time, but it certainly is my favorite story. But you can't have a great story without conflict and antagonists, can you? Well, this game is a plethora of villains, and by that I mean around 9 major baddies in the base game. Future Connected has a reality-destroying fog beast, but I didn't care that much for it, so we're just gonna ignore that. For the main game, though, we have Metalface or Mumkar, Zord, Tyrea, Gado, Egil, Dickson, Lorathea, Alvis, and lastly, Zanza. Alvis I wouldn't consider a villain myself, all he does is turn on the main cast for about 30 minutes. He has good intentions and does have a plan to stop Zanza in the end, so really it's 8 villains. But this isn't a video talking about the silver-haired hottie, no, it's all about our boy, hippie Hulk Hogan, Dickson. Dickson Xenoblade Chronicles Nintendo Wii is a pretty cool dude. I think he's a real interesting villain and he's why I'm making this video in the first place. To me, Dickson has as much of an impact villain-wise as Zanza, and he isn't even revealed to be evil until the last few hours of the game. To start, let's go back to the very beginning to where Dickson first came across Shulk and the Monado. 14 years before the game's setting, there was a Monado expedition group, a group that, well, set out search for the Monado, the legendary sword that the Bionis wielded. The Bionis being the massive titan the Homs live on, which are basically human beings. The group finds the Monado in a shut-off room in an icy tower, and then we cut to Dickson. We can assume he was part of the group because he's wearing the same gear as the others. He comes across like 10 or so dead bodies and a small child who would be Shulk, still breathing. He's shocked at the amount of death he sees along with the Monado itself looming over him and Shulk. But when Dickson sees Shulk, he smiles. You would assume it's because, well, at least the child survived, right? No! You see, Zanza's soul is now inside Shulk after being stored in the Monado. His soul killed everyone else in the room and left Shulk to live with Zanza's soul to eventually mature as a new vessel. Shulk would replace his old vessel, the Bionis. Zanza's god basically also just wanted to point that out. So Dickson, seeing Zanza possess Shulk, planned out everything, including Zanza's eventual reawakening. Next up in the Dick saga, we have the Battle of Sword Valley. This is an amazing introduction to a game, I will say, but the main points will be focused on Dickson because, obviously. When I first played the game, I questioned the moment again and again. There's a moment where Dickson saves Dumban from Mechon, a machine made from the Mechonis, another titan, to attack Bionis, and he gets stabbed in the back by its claw. He says,
"I ain't going down that easily."
And there's a good reason for that. He's actually a giant, a dead species of people who lived on Bionis. You can see in his boss form how he reminisces one of Zanza's other vessels, Arglass. What I want to know is why didn't Dunban ever question such an injury being brushed off? Any average Joe would have been killed by that, but not Dickson. Maybe Dunban thinks of him as a strong war hero, which he technically is, so he could brush off such an attack. Still, that moment symbolizes strength and true nature not even 15 minutes in the game. Not to mention, also, he only saves Dunban because he needs to keep his eyes on the Monado. Once Shulk gets a hold of it, so will Zanza, and things will start falling into place. We're finally back at present day. After a bit in the intro, Shulk goes to the lab to continue his Monado research. Dickson is conveniently there waiting for him, giving a big old smile. He's surprised with Shulk's research and what all he's uncovered, and Shulk soon says to Dickson,
"What I know is, the central piece is made from multi-layered glass. The symbol appears on the top layer, and each layer is constructed differently."
So it's possible that other symbols could appear on different layers. The Monado might conceal even more power. Am I right?
Dickson acts intrigued, wondering what the supposed power may be. The thing is, though, he knows more than he lets on. He knows the true power of the Monado, and it was only a matter of time before Shulk mastered it. It was also only a matter of time before I decided to spend one whole night maxing out the Monado arts by fighting Final Marcus over and over and over and over. As we move forward in the story, the Mechon attack Colony 9, which is Shulk and everyone's home. After the attack, Shulk and Ryan set off to destroy all Mechon and whoever that large Mechon was. You can see Dickson at the end of the cutscene. He's leaning on Dunban's house watching the two leave, and you could see it as him supporting them on their new grand quest. On another hand, which is more likely given his character, he's watching everything fall into place. He even has a smile on his face. It's honestly a sinister grin if anything. And we all know when Dickson smiles, something funny happens! Fast forward 23 hours and we have Dickson and Dunban return to duke it out with some Mechon, and honestly there weren't that many major things to add here. It was just a really cool scene.
Now, let him have it, beast!
Though afterwards, Shulk has a vision of him and everyone at a tower, and Dickson, being ever so helpful that he is, knows this place. He's been at the top of the Bionis, which is where Prison Island is, and funnily enough, this man spilled out the location of his death 60 hours later.
Damn.
Later on at the famous grinding location, he gives off one final line before heading off.
Can't say I feel so good about deceiving these kids.
What's that you say?
Oh, just mumbling. Forget I said anything.
Now the players know something has to be up. He knows something about the Monado and everything, just like Zord, the Mechon everyone fought right before Dunban and Dickson's reintroduction. But, honestly, I didn't think anything of it because I couldn't take a hint with the foreshadowing. The next big moments with our boy are found on the Mechonis, where there are a few subtle nods to something happening, such as...
Still, Munkar as well, eh? Things are getting interesting.
But there's not much to discuss there. You know by now some shit is up. The Bionis goes to war with the Mechonis, and Dickson's one of the Hom's representatives. He later finds Shulk and company on the Fallen Arm, and after telling the fellas what's about to happen, he looks onward as they leave, again, thinking things are all going to his plan. Didn't I mention war? You can see he knows what he's doing in battle, and while there isn't much to say about his character during these moments, they're just really cool scenes. Oh wait, shit, I forgot, everything's bad. The Mechonis is reawakened, and Shulk failed to stop Ego this time, and you can see this clearly upsets Dickson. Not only would bad things come of it, but this puts a hold on his plans.
Damn it! I was counting on you, runt.
He's a good actor though. He puts on a whole new face in the following scene greeting Shulk, which shouldn't be as funny as it is to me.
Hello there.
Get up, Ryan!
Dickson, Shulk, Alvis, and everyone heads to the Mechonis core where shit happens in the best possible way. Dickson believes Shulk can finally stop Egil and bring forth Zanza, but the thing is, Alvis, who can see the future just like Shulk, doesn't even know what will happen.
But only as long as we remain within the margins of fate. I know not how things will proceed from this point.
In the end, Egil and Shulk actually settle their differences and become friends, now hopefully bringing peace to their worlds. Except... Yeah, Dickson kills Shulk because he's had enough with waiting. It was finally time for Zanza's return. He then monologues all what I said in the beginning, and I for one was shocked. The lies, the deception, everything led up to this moment, and honestly, it was really cool and well done.
Zanza!
Now that his true intentions are revealed, everyone sees how much of an ass Dickson can be and how horrible he really is.
Tasted good, didn't they? The victory drinks we used to share. I'll kill you! Oh, don't be like that. You'll meet him soon enough. You might even be reborn if you return to Lord Zanza. Who knows? He might be your boyfriend in the next life.
Later on, Shulk comes back to life thanks to the power of silver-haired anime men, and he and everyone ventures off to Prison Island for one last showdown with Dickson and Zanza. It should be obvious by now that Dickson dies at the hands of friendship, but it's honestly a bitter end for Dickson. He doesn't continue fighting, he lets Shulk go and stop Zanza, and he says this.
Damn. How'd that kid get so strong? I ain't gonna let you see me die. I won't give you the satisfaction of victory. See ya, kid. Looks like the student finally surpassed the teacher.
He raised Shulk. He was a father figure and mentor to him, but all of it was lies, and you can see how much he regrets it. But he accepts his fate, and dies. You can see how much of a toll it takes on Shulk right before they leave. He's distressed, angry, sad, and everything, and you can tell that all just from his clenched teeth. Dickson's Xenoblade Chronicles Nintendo Wii is a cool-ass villain in my opinion. You could tell where its motives lie, but also his emotions, especially at the end. To me, there can't be anything worse than someone you know, care about, or even just look up to. Someone you know, close to you, deceiving you, lying to you for so long for something bad, or even something simple and stupid. It hurts. And while these experiences we've all had aren't the same as LMAO, I'm God's disciple, get fucked, it can still sting. Not only was his villainous self very deceiving and pretty bad in a good way, like, it wasn't portrayed bad, it was portrayed good, he's bad, you know what I fucking mean. He was just really cool. Each scene he was in was a joy to watch, even after knowing the real Dickson. In fact, that made some scenes better. In a story context, he may not be as big of a threat as Zanza or even Egil, but he's still, in my opinion, a very well crafted and well written villain.